Welcome, Strategy Battle Ghosts, on our GBHL YouTube video. You hear your host GBHL Damian and
Matt GenerationShift.
Matt Davies of GenerationShift. Woo!
Thank you for having me.
That's quite alright, thank you for being here. Stepping in for that Tom fellow who's gone rogue.
I know, he's still here.
Hey. And have you planned that?
Yeah.
And we are here with the latest instalment in our There and Back Again week. Have you smelt it?
Oh yeah.
Have you gone in?
First thing I did.
It is tasty good. Alas, Tom can't be here, but Matt has agreed to step in and join us in talking about the evil warriors. You may have seen so far. I think you should have seen the James and Steve talking about good heroes. Both parts of that. Me and Tom talking about evil warriors and evil heroes, and possibly even James and Steve talking about good warriors. What were your first impressions of the book, seeing as you're here?
It's great. Really like it. It's really nicely laid out. I love all the scenarios. They're really cool.
Is there anything, any profile in the top of your head of anyone that stands out to you as being something particularly cool or particularly good or particularly you want to use?
I think I'd like to use a swift evil force. So like you've got the berserkers and the ogres. So that would be quite interesting.
Well, maybe we should talk about those then. So, today me and Matt will be talking about the evil warriors. We won't be directly mentioning the points values, although we'll probably end up giving some not so subtle hints, as is the way. And we're basically working our way. There are 9 to talk about. Work our way through and see what we think of them.
Yep.
So we're going to start things off with the Gundabad berserker, which I've shut the book. Which are the same points as an Uruk-hai berserker. I think people were expecting them to be like a very kind of similar troop type, and they are very similar, but they have movement 8, the fight 4 you'd expect, strength 4, defense 5, 2 attacks, 1 wound, and courage 6.
Now, is this the first movement 8 man-sized model?
Yes.
It is. Yeah.
Yes, I know. Well, you can obviously have marauders. You could upgrade marauders to movement 8.
Alright.
So you do that, but base profile, maybe?
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. So compared to an Uruk berserker, then they get 2 inches of movement, 1 less defense, and 1 less courage for the same points. So that's. I don't think movement's necessarily worth the same as the other stats.
Yeah, I guess so. But then you've got this special rule which helps with the defense kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's that then?
So that's oblivious to pain. So every time a Gundabad berserker suffers a wound, roll a dice 6 on a roll of a 6, or with a 5 plus if it's got a banner of Angmar from Azog's signal tower. Yeah. The wound is ignored exactly if a point of fate has been spent. So it's like base fury.
It's fury, yeah. You get 6 plus fury. But it's not cumulative with other special effects, which
so
is
you
very
can't
important
use it with
caveat.
fury.
Yeah.
Well, use
so
just that.
If you have fury on as well from an orc shaman, they only get 1 roll.
I like that.
Yeah, it is good.
It's good.
They also get ancient enemies, which all the Gundabads have.
Yeah.
So re-rolling 1s when attempting to wound. And a big thing is their standard war gear can be an axe or a sword.
Yeah.
So you can pierce and strike with these bad boys.
I think for me, I'll be running a big mix. I like having a mix like it's in the film. Yeah.
Have you bought any yet? You bought any berserkers?
Not yet. Hopefully on Saturday I'll buy at least a pack. So yeah.
Because like tactically, logic says to me you have to get maxes, but for me, I'm spending a lot of money on these models, and I want 1 of each. So I think I'm going to end up with 2 axes, 2 two-handed axes, and 2 swords.
If you noticed in the film, some are carrying 2 weapons.
I think put 1 on the back.
Well, I'm going to make some where it's got like 2 swords or an axe and a sword, or just not for game purposes, for looking cool.
And you do have the option to give them a 2-handed pick.
Yeah, which I really like as well, especially the strength 4.
So I think relatively speaking, then they're better than an Uruk berserker. They go down to defense 5, which makes them very, very, very squishy. That's a huge drop with all the strength 3 attacks and strength 3 shooting. But the increased movement, which means they can charge where they want.
If you're heroic marching, they're going to be getting to the enemy really quick.
So they can run ahead as they should be.
Yeah.
And for me, the fact they can pierce and strike, the fact they've got ancient enemies, and they've got a free fury.
Yeah.
It makes them better than the berserkers, but I don't really miss the courage 7. Courage 6 is still plenty good enough.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I think they're great. I think they're a very needed boost to the troops of Gundabad.
Yeah, I mean,
nice to have some elites.
The Gundabad army was looking very sparse, wasn't it, really? Yeah. So it's great to finally get these guys.
There we go, that's the Gundabad berserkers. We like them.
Yeah, a lot.
Cool, so next up we have the Warbat. You want to talk about this?
Sure. Well, they are... I can imagine they'll be on a 40mm base.
Oh, I think 40mm,
I think that's probably a given. But yeah, they are a cost of a previous spider, weren't they?
Yeah, very good.
But they got razor sharp talons and teeth, so just hand weapon. They move 12 inches, fight 3, strength 4, defense 4, so quite squishy. Attacks 2 and wounds 2, courage 3. But they've got an interesting rule, or 2 interesting rules actually. One's piercing talons, so this is going to be great for dealing with some of your heroes.
And your Iron Hills Dwarves.
Yeah. So when a Warbat charges in, the defense of the charged model and any model that subsequently countercharges is reduced by 2 against strikes from a Warbat.
Right.
But I think that's good because it just applies to the Warbat.
Yes. Yeah. It's not like a kind of bat swarm
No.
almost where you can jump on and swarm.
Yeah.
But it makes them very good against Iron Hills.
Oh,
because
yeah.
their strength 4,
Fantastic.
so their defense, and loads of people have been saying, how do you deal with Iron Hills Dwarves? Their defense will drop from either 8 or 7 to 6 or 5, which will mean the bats need 5s against them.
Yeah, I mean, because strength 4, they weren't getting anywhere near them at first.
Yeah, 6 is straight up on either.
They need that rule, yeah.
But it's terrifying as well. I mean, that's against the dwarf, so it makes it a bit squishier.
You
but
could very easily take out a captain.
As soon as you get anything that's like strength defense 6, we're playing Minas Tirith or something.
Getting a few, yeah.
They go down to defense 4.
Mm.
But
Definitely.
of course, as you say, it's only the strikes against the Warbat, and they are quite expensive.
They are for 2 attacks and fight 3. I mean,
It's actually quite a similar profile to a spider. It's that similar kind of rough idea, and it's a similar sort of points.
yeah, but this next rule actually helps with their points as well. It's quite a cool little rule. So it's called Pluck. As the Warbat flies over its prey, it will attempt to seize it in its vicious talons and fling it to the ground. So quite cinematic, which I'm finding a lot of these rules are very cinematic to the films. At the end of a Warbat's move, pick up an unengaged man-size or smaller model, and that, that's we know what that is, really, don't we? Enemy model that has moved over. Roll a dice 6 on a 4+. The model suffers a strength 4 hit. If it's survived, roll a dice on a 4+. The model is knocked to the ground. So you could do that with an enemy hero.
Yep.
Fly over, knock him to the ground. He takes strength 4 hit, but
He will survive.
he's on the ground, so he won't be striking against you.
Yeah. But you don't even have to charge him.
Yeah.
You can just do it to. I mean that.
But then you're engaged at the end of the combat. At the
Yeah.
end of the move phase. So.
But this it has to be an unengaged model, yeah.
Yeah. But
So-
you can swoop round and almost take him out of play.
Yeah, you can swoop. I think you can swoop over him and knock him down, but you can't. That bat can't then charge him.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's at the end of its move, pick an unengaged man-sized model.
All right. Then you
But
should.
you could go
get
over the
2 and
hero,
then
knock
bring
him
another
down,
one.
and then get other guys onto it. You can do that.
So you could do some nice tactics.
But also
with this, yeah.
great against strafe in like banners.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe where you'll start to see quite clever
Mounted
use
models
of them.
as well.
You can't do a mounted model.
You can't knock him off.
It's not a man-sized model. The man-sized model's in Dane, isn't it?
Right. Okay.
And I think it specifically says on foot. A man-sized model is any model on foot that's roughly the same size.
Oh, that's a shame.
That's probably why that's in there.
Yeah.
But definitely, like having a couple of them, and just almost every turn, like strafing over, you might get a cheeky wound. Because
Yeah.
you might be charging into something at the end as well and doing damage that way.
Mm.
But yeah, your little banners and your shamans and against bards, kids, that sort of thing,
Yeah.
going over them, just getting your cheeky wound on them, could be very good.
Just the ability to fly is
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, these wouldn't be very good if they were like spiders.
So there'll be bad bats as
Yeah.
well. Do you think we'll see a lot of the warbats?
I think in maybe 1, 2s or something like that in an army. I don't think you'd be seeing a lot of them. I don't think they've got...
They're relatively expensive in points.
Yeah.
And they're also, I imagine, if they're going to be on a 40mm base, they're going to be individual big bats. So I imagine the models are going to be relatively expensive.
Yeah.
Which means you won't see too many of them about.
Yeah.
It'd be good to see an army, right?
Just
an
bats.
army of bats.
Yeah.
It'd be quite fun.
And then sort of allying some...
Flies over your force and just knocks them all down.
I'm not sure how well it would work because they are quite squishy.
It'd be awful. But you could have 20 at 500 points.
Oh, there you go.
Plus you need points for a hero.
Yeah.
But that could be
Would you?
quite entertaining. Yeah, bats need a hero to lead
They're
them.
not in
They're not in Denizens.
That would have been quite good.
But the bat swarms from Mario and
Yeah, I guess
so. So there you go.
Brilliant.
Pretty cool.
Another strong
Good to see him in there. Next up we have a Gundabad troll, and for this I wanted to get...
Are you getting the Mordor book?
Yeah. So we can compare and contrast. Do you want to chat about a Mordor troll?
Yeah. Would you be right in saying they are now a new Mirkwood spider, more points value than Mordor?
They are indeed a new Mirkwood spider. They're 20 points more than the Mordor troll. We can say that.
You can't say that.
You don't, because you're not saying how much the Mordor troll is.
Yeah, but you're saying how much the Mirkwood spider is.
Yes, this is good. Yeah, they're 20 points more than a Mordor troll.
And what do they get for that?
For that, they have the same movement, 6 inches, the same fight of 7. They actually have 1 less shoot value, 6+ instead of 5+. Same strength of 7, an extra defence of 8, so +1 defence.
Wow.
3 attacks, and here's a big one, an extra wound.
That's big.
Yeah,
That's very big.
on a defence 8 troll,
And
an extra courage.
that's also big.
Those are all great stats for a troll.
It's an uber troll.
I personally wouldn't care less about losing the shoot value.
No, definitely
for
not.
throwing stones, but whatever.
I've never thrown a stone with a troll.
And so +1 defence, +1 wound, and +1 courage are excellent stats.
It's perfect, really.
To go up to. It doesn't actually have throw stones, which is worth noticing. So this one can't throw stones.
So well, yeah.
So yeah.
Doesn't, you're right, yeah.
So going by the standard matrix,
So they still get terror.
he should now be 15 points more because he gets 3 stats. This is Tom's matrix, not necessarily what they're doing. And then he loses throw stones, so he should be 10 points more.
Okay, but they get special rules.
Oh, I should hope so. What special rules do they get?
First, they get ancient enemies.
It's a great rule. A great rule for a troll.
But
Rerolling
what I've
once
noticed
when
is
attempting
that,
to wound elves and dwarves.
but that isn't adding any points. It doesn't seem these days in the matrix of things.
Yeah.
But
But it's still great.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If he's fighting
Situational.
normal elves, he's wounded on 3s, rerolling 1s.
Also, he's wounding on. We'll see
Oh, yeah,
later.
I was gonna say. And then what's very, very cool is to mark the different kinds of trolls that we see in the film. You have 2 types of equipment.
Yep.
Either a crushing club or scythe gauntlets.
I mean, you remember both these items in the film, and they were absolutely vicious. I mean, especially the scything gauntlets. I think.
Which one do you want to, before we look at the rules, of the 2, which one would you want to make?
The gauntlets.
Yeah, that's the
Definitely.
That's the cool one.
2
right?
massive bladed shields.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm hoping, I don't know what you think, but maybe this will be one kit.
One kit, yeah, with 2 different head options, and then
Sort of two
two
different arm options or something. That'd be
I'm
groovy.
thinking that. I think that's what they're doing. If we go by what they're doing with the berserkers, I think it's going to work similar to that.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't really know how the costings work. But if you look at the Isengard troll, which has that, it's a plastic sprue, then when you want to buy this, you don't want to buy both, do you? You want to buy either. You either want 2, one of each, or you want 1 of each, right? So if you're getting the extra arms, you're actually arguably spending money on something you don't need. Whereas possibly if they just did it as 2 separate kits, each kit might be a bit cheaper because it doesn't have the extra arms.
I mean, I can't see them splitting it up so much like the Forged Dreadnoughts, where they have a main body and then you have to buy the arms separately. But it could work like that. I mean, we don't know. There's nothing like this has come out before. But they are going to be a lot bigger than the standard Mordor troll.
Yeah. Do you think they will make them bigger?
I think they'll make them bigger because if you look at the size of them, I mean, obviously everything's scaled down or scaled slightly up in model form, but they're still going to be on 60mm bases, I can imagine.
They might be a bit bigger, I suppose.
But if you look at the size of some of the ones that like were chasing the chariot in the film.
Yeah, they're the ogres though, aren't they? The one that chases after it, yeah.
Absolutely ginormous.
Yeah.
But
the cave troll's bigger in the film as well, isn't it? I think a lot of them are scaled down.
Yeah, true.
But what are our choices? Crushing Club or Scythe Gauntlets? What do they do then?
Well, Crushing Club, I think it works like Azog's Flail, really, doesn't it? Dice 3 wounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to whirl or anything.
Yeah. So wounds caused by strikes from the Gundabad Troll Armoured Crushing Club cause not 1 wound but dies 3 wounds instead. Determine the number of wounds caused before fate points are used. Any model that's targeted with strikes from the Crushing Club and survives is also knocked to the ground on a roll of 3+.
Ouch.
Yep.
And Scythe Gauntlets, a Gundabad troll armed with a pair of Scythe Gauntlets receives a +1 bonus to its strikes when rolling to wound. So Matt, you've got the right number of points left in your army for a troll. Which one do you take?
Scythe and Gauntlets. It depends what I mean. Crushing Club usually that'll help with heroes because there's most forces is everything's 1 wound.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be helping you, and you're going to be killing them anyway. So they're not going to be knocked to the ground. Isn't going to help you very much if they're already dead. Whereas Scythe and Gauntlets, it pretty much you're going to kill everything.
Yeah, because Scythe Gauntlets against anything with defense 5 or less, you're wounding on 2s. Against elves and dwarves defense 5 or less, you're wounding on 2s, rerolling 1s.
Yeah, but and ancient enemies as well. It's just like it's brilliant.
So, but then I think the Scythe Gauntlets will be better for the majority of turns in the majority of games because the Scythe Gauntlets you can use for everything. Yeah. Using every single combat. It's always so even when they come up against some dwarves who are defense 7, they suddenly get them up to 3s instead of 4s. And because he's a big monster, he's probably going to be trapped. So being able to kill lots of models is important. But the club doing D3 wounds is amazing. Yeah. Because you could equally well argue that the troll's probably going to be killing the models it's facing anyway, so it doesn't really need the Scythe Gauntlets. And every time they chuck a hero into it...
I mean, if he comes against like an Ent or something like that, and gets 1 wound on an Ent, that's the Ent gone.
So if they've got any monsters in there, you just power your trolls, and the way you deal with trolls, one of the ways you deal with trolls, is putting heroes on them and heroic strike it. And that's a hell of a risk.
Now it is,
a troll with a club. So I think maybe
one of each.
Yeah. I think maybe the Scythe Gauntlets is more effective in terms of the models it'll kill, but I think the club will be a much bigger deterrent and keep your trolls
that might gain you more points back in the long run, the Crushing Club. Yeah.
As soon as you get it on one thing, like you say, an Ent or an Eagle, you could one hit it. And you might well, against an Ent or an Eagle, like he's got strength 7, you're probably going to need 4s to wound it. I think it's an Ent defense 8. Might need 5s. Yes. So you're rolling 3 attacks against it.
3 attacks. So
you could easily get 2.
If you get 2, you're going to at least get 1, aren't you? Yeah. And dies 3, and the Ent doesn't have any fate, so it's gone straight away.
And 4 wounds and defense 8. It's going to be sticking around. It's a new era for trolls. Like 4 wounds.
For the 20 points extra, this is so worth it. Like compared to a troll, a normal Mordor troll.
And it also means, on the other hand, that the Ent can't get lucky and one-shot it. Yeah. Because it's got 4 wounds. But anything with 3 attacks can't do it in 1.
Anything with 4 wounds, it's just...
Even like Aragorn going in with Andril or something and wounding on 4s, he can't do it in 1 turn.
You don't often see a 4-wound model.
No.
I mean, the Golden King's got it, but...
yeah, that's meant to represent a whole bunch of guys, isn't it?
Exactly.
So they're very, very good, but how do you deal with trolls Most people deal with trolls.
It's just, well, they're mobilised.
Yeah, you can immobilise them, and they're just as they have, which I think is a nice trade-off. They have just as much vulnerability to that as everything else.
Yeah, true. So do you think these can be shattered? Crushing club recycling corners.
Yeah, small gear. Yeah, you could shatter the club.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think they're a big risk because it's a lot of points to invest into something that could be constantly immobilised. But equally, if you come up a game without a caster, that's a hell of a troll.
Yeah. I think that actually overtakes any hero, like sort of targeting. If I came up against an army which had that troll and, say, Bolg,
you think you'd go for the troll?
If I didn't have a caster,
well, yeah, I mean that's
I'd
the other
go for that first.
Yeah, that's the other thing now. Having that troll also gives you that threat that maybe keeps Azog and Bolg a bit safer.
Yeah.
If you've got a caster, you're going to immobilise that troll without will, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're not going to try and immobilise Bolg. But again, huge points investment.
Yeah.
So yeah, very cool though. Can't wait to see the model. Can't wait to see a Forge World troll. That'll be amazing.
And there's another troll as well.
Indeed, the Troll Brute. And this is specifically representing the guy that they call Stumpy, affectionately, in all the commentaries.
That's what PJ calls it.
Yeah, it's the much maligned troll who has the flails for hands and the peg legs essentially. And what's quite interesting is he's a warrior, which means you can take more than one of them.
Yes.
So they're saying that
in one of the scenarios there is two of him.
Yeah. So it's that kind of, they've gone for that slight bit of creative license to saying, well, there's, this is just an example of one of these things.
Yeah. I mean, technically, you don't know that that's the same one in the film, but they say it in all the commentaries that there's this one poor put upon troll who's clearly having a very bad day. But I think
and you can follow him through, can't you? He wanders through the battle. Bofa gets on top of him, then he wanders to the Ice River, and then he wanders up to Ravenhill.
Yeah. But you have got the ability then to maybe make some different looking ones of these.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But he has the same points as a Mordor troll. His war gear is flails.
It's quite a different profile to a Mordor troll though. No.
Yeah, the big drop is that he's only got fight 4. Strength 7, defense 6, 3 attacks, 4 wounds, and courage 3. But his courage 3 is irrelevant because he is fearless.
Yeah.
Because frankly, once you've had that done to you,
this is why I'm thinking these trolls are going to be a bit bigger because of the wounds.
Yeah.
It's usually dependent on size. So.
And Stumpy has a special rule: crushing blow. Each time a troll moves into base contact,
special rule. Pretty good.
With another model, it must inflict a single strength 10 hit upon that model.
It's a mini monarch.
If the model is slain, the troll brute may continue its move. If it's not slain, then the troll brute stops, exactly like a charging model would. And if the model is an enemy, we'll fight it as normal in the fight phase.
So it moves till the end of its charge.
Yeah, which is
distance.
6 inches.
So you have the potential, if you
you could do 10 models easily. If you've got a spear line.
If you get it in the
and you go down the spear line. I mean, you have to roll, strength 10, so it's going to be 3s against everything. It's going to be 3s against Iron Hills Dwarves. That's how you deal with Iron Hills Dwarves, get Stumpy running down the end.
Obviously, this is the first. No, this doesn't have ancient enemies.
No.
So, because, he's a blind troll. He's not going to be fighting.
I think he hates the world.
Yeah.
Not just elves and dwarves. But you have to keep rolling 3s. It's one of those things, I could kill 10 models, and you could, but
you could also not kill any.
Yeah. We've all done that. It's the old Beorn crushing strength thing, isn't it? It's like, I've just got to keep rolling 3 plus. 3, 1.
It's a very, for its points, it's a very random and risky troll to take.
Well, going into battle with that, I wouldn't count on it. I would say he's just a troll, and that's a complete bonus. Kind of just try and charge as normal.
Okay.
And then try and charge. But he has some significant disadvantages in that he's only defense 6 and he's only fight 4.
Yeah.
Does have 4 wounds though. 4
wounds, yeah, but that's 6 is a big difference. For an extra 20 points to get a Gundabad troll.
He can also whirl, right? He's got flails.
Yes,
Monsters can do special strikes. That'd be amazing.
But I don't see how he can hurl. He hasn't got any hands.
Yeah. Maybe kicks them or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously both these trolls are monsters. They can do all the brutal power attack.
Sadly, he's not an upgrade to Bofur.
No, but that's in a scenario. One of the scenarios, both can ride him and turn him into a good model. Which is cool.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, it's in one of the Battle 5 arms.
Oh wow.
The downside of this guy, again, we talked about immobilising in the previous one, the huge risk of him is command.
Oh no.
If you command him, every time a troll brute moves into base contact with another model, not an enemy model, you can command him through his own models.
You want to keep a distance from this guy with your normal guys, don't you, really?
And then the proof is when it says if the model is an enemy, it will fight it like normal, which means that he can move into base contact with models that are not enemies. So he's got 6 inches, so you could command him 3 inches. You could Eldamar... Oh no, you can't Eldamar magical him because he's fearless. But yeah, so you kind of... When you're positioning this guy, you need to always make sure there is no one, if you're facing a caster, no one within 3 inches of him. Otherwise they'll command him through him and crush him.
Yeah, you can't... You can't.
And that's it's a big liability.
Yeah.
For a model that's costing that many points, same points as Mortal Trial.
You wouldn't be...
He's going to be smashing up your army if you're not careful. Because again, no kind of protection against magic.
Yeah, no. I personally wouldn't take him.
You wouldn't?
No. I mean...
But it's Stumpy.
He
just wants to be loved.
I don't like the designs a bit, to be honest.
Is it a bit too high fantasy?
It's the legs. If he had normal legs...
You could deal with the hands.
Probably I could deal with the hands, yeah. It's just, that would... he'd be on the floor. He's a troll. Trolls, I can't imagine, have very good balance. So, and... Yeah. It's like, he's even worse than walking in high heels, I can imagine that is.
I think it's one of those things that's going to be quite fun, because you're paying the points. You deserve that special rule when you're paying the points, and it's going to be incredibly frustrating for you if someone then just immobilises him every turn, as is the way with trolls. But again, it gives your enemy that, if you've got Azog as well, they have to be doing this guy.
Yeah.
Stop him.
He's not a competitive playing piece.
He could win you games. If he gets one charge off down the line, he could wipe out an army. And you can also he can barge, right? So it's every time model moves, so he could do that twice a turn. He could be charging in something, crushing loads of them, fight it, barge, and then move again.
Barge?
Yeah, because he's a monster.
Oh yeah.
And then as he barges, any model he passes through takes strength 10 hit.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Now in competitive games, obviously he's going to be immobilised most of the time. He's also fight 4, which means he's far from guaranteed to winning. Winning fights.
With the size of his base, very easily surrounded, they're going to be...
There's so many...
Fight 4.
Many fight 5 models around of one sort or the other to get onto him.
Yeah.
But...
And with his defence, then, he's going to be killed fairly quickly.
You could also shoot him. Elves could just pincushion him.
Yeah, it's with defence 6.
So we go. Next up, another troll.
A troll. And this will be the biggest of the trolls.
Yeah. It's a catapult troll. A troll with a catapult on his back. Everyone wanted them, and we've got them.
It's quite a big profile, this one, really.
Yeah, and quite a big points value.
Yeah.
Nearly the cost of 2 Mordor trolls.
What's it compared to the cost of the Iron Hills?
It's more than Dane on Pig.
Twirly Whirly.
The Twirly Whirly is much cheaper. It's probably the cost of 2 of them, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's exactly the cost of 2 ballistas. It's very slightly more than an Iron Hills Chariot.
There you go.
This troll, fight 6, strength 7, defense 7, 3 attacks, 5 wounds, courage 3, has a catapult and metal gauntlet, and it causes terror.
So we're back to the defense 7 again. Well, Mordor troll. As you see in the film, these aren't as armoured, but. Yeah, so it takes a hit on the 5 value because you don't actually see them fight.
So the metal gauntlets, they never count as being unarmed, and they count their strength as 10 when rolling for a distance with a hull brutal power attack.
Oh, okay.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So that's only it sounds terrifying, but they are strength 7, so it's +3. It's not saying it doesn't make a difference, but it's getting +3 on whatever else it rolls. So given that you're probably hurling something that's a strength 3, you're getting about 7 plus d6.
Yeah.
It's a big hurl. But then this is an awful lot of points. An awful lot of points.
It's a bit of an interesting one, because when you're getting a siege engine, any points that you're paying for kind of combat abilities, it almost negates
well, this
what
is,
your points are.
I think this isn't a siege engine. This is the thing.
It's
you don't think of it as a siege engine. You think of it as a troll that then can do some damn fine damage from its back. So the Catapult has a range of 12 to 96 inches.
Yeah.
Strength 10. And it can still fire in the same turn that it moved. That's huge. So the troll can amble around and just lob rocks.
Okay, yeah.
But it only hits on a roll of a 6. Can still be fired while the troll is in combat. But if you wish to do this and a 1 is rolled and rolled to hit, the Catapult malfunctions and the troll suffers a wound. So that means every single turn you just wander around the table doing what a troll does and then shooting at something 12 inches away from you.
Yeah.
That's quite... Playing against that, I would be quite alarmed.
Yeah.
You know, because you're going to get some 6s. If a Catapult scores a hit against a battlefield target, all man-sized or smaller models within 2 inches are knocked to the ground. Yeah. Cavalry must take a thrown rider test. So cavalry are knocked to the ground.
Yeah.
Any model within 2 inches also suffers a strength 6 hit.
It's just big.
So assuming it hits, and it obviously has to scatter and everything like a normal siege engine. Once it hits, everything with 2 inches knocked to the ground, including cavalry.
Yeah. So the person hit originally.
So strength 10 hit.
Strength 10 and then around 6. Okay.
Absolutely. And we'll also have that kind of doesn't it kill outright? Isn't it one of those? I think I can't remember. I don't use siege engines. Doesn't a siege thing that's hit straight? Isn't it? If it wounds automatically, it kills it or something like that.
Oh yeah. Well, it's just been hit by a massacre, right?
Yeah. And obviously it's got a Goblin crew as well.
I think it's depending on the number of wounds, isn't it?
Yes, I think it does half wounds if it's got 10 wounds or more or something. If the Catapult troll wins the fight, in addition to any strikes the troll makes, the Goblin crew may make strike against those in combat. They inflict D6 strength 3 hits if the Catapult troll wins the fight.
The thing I found, if we're going back to that, with the siege engines, with the shoot value, you want... Usually on a siege engine you like to take a captain to give you that extra ability to hit something. With this you don't have that ability.
Yeah.
So...
But I mean, if you get one hit,
but
that would arguably make the points worth it. Playing a cavalry army or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, but it is better shoot value than you would have thought.
Yeah, it's 4 plus shoot value if it starts still.
So you are going to hit. Say if you get 3 turns of shooting, then you are going to hit, definitely.
You have to be fighting an army with no shooting, because otherwise they're going to be shooting back at you.
But it's got 5 wounds.
Yeah, I mean in terms of what's happening to the rest of your army.
Okay.
I reckon if you come up against an elf horde, you're not going to sit back and lob rocks at it. I don't know, maybe you are.
But you can move at the same time.
Yeah. At which point it becomes a 6 hit.
Yeah.
I think you'd use it as a troll moving forward and just chucking the dice every turn, and you'll get a 6 at some point.
So...
But obviously there are ways of dealing with siege engines. You know, you move the guy, you move one patsy out the back, don't you?
Yeah.
So that if it scatters, you pick one guy within 6 inches and you pick that guy.
Yeah.
So then no one else gets hurt.
I guess so, yeah.
But it's all, I don't think it's competitive because of the points, and because again it has the same limitations as the other ones.
Yeah.
You haven't. Bear in mind that an Azog's Legion army probably has Azog or Bolg leading it. Then to get one of these in, you must be at 1,000 points.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I mean, the Goblin crew is a cool little...
Yeah, so if it wins a fight, it's going to do 3 attacks at strength 7 and D6 strength 3 hits.
It's almost like with Radagast you're getting all those extra attacks.
So it's very cool, and I think it would be quite terrifying to play against.
I think it'll be on a dragon base.
You don't think it'll be 60 mil?
No.
I think it'll be a big thing.
I think it's going to be big.
Maybe. Because
he's going to be down, isn't he? I think it's
cool.
It's going to be cool.
It's got 5 wounds, so yeah, it's bigger. Well, there we go. That's the third and final troll.
Which is, strong profile, but...
Next up, we have the Gundabad ogres, which are 3 Mirkwood spiders in cost.
Now, I really rate these.
Absolutely. They are monsters, that's key. And they're particularly pertinent because they're coming out soon. Probably, I don't know exactly when, but maybe out by the end of January, I would think.
I'd say so. Beautiful sculpts.
Yeah, lovely sculpts, and they're on 50mm bases, so they're the smallest monster. Oh no, cave trolls on a 40mm.
Like your opinions with the berserkers, I much prefer the sculpts to seeing them in film.
Yeah, absolutely. They look far better as models. Yeah, I completely agree. They are move 8.
Yes, move 8.
Fight 5, strength 6, defense 5, attacks 3, wounds 3, and courage 3.
I can see a very tasty army with the move 8.
Berserkers and Gundabad.
Except for the hero. You'd put like Bolg on a
yeah, absolutely. So that's a great little profile. So proper budget monster. What's a cave troll? 90?
No, yeah,
85?
and these are actually bigger models. If they're 50mm bases.
The bigger models, but the stats are slightly worse. They lose a point of fight and they lose a point of defence compared to a cave troll.
They are quite squishy.
Yeah, they get the bonus movement, but I think everyone would take fight and defence.
They're cheap.
Movement. They are cheap.
For what they are.
They cause terror, and they have relentless advance.
Ooh, this is a nice one.
Essentially, the Goblin King's rule. When a Gundabad ogre charges into combat, they can pass through friendly orcs, goblins, and warbats when they move, and each model they pass through suffers a strength 3 hit. The model they end their move on is automatically removed as a casualty.
I love these sort of rules because they can, like, say, in certain scenarios they could win you the game if you've got to get somewhere really quickly and you've got this line of troops blocking your way.
Or if you've got to kill one model and you just charge someone next to him and end your move on them.
Yeah, you could play it really cheesily and sort of kill your own men and break your force and end the turn.
But what it's good at, the same way the Goblin King's been used for years, is that it allows you to protect him. You can have a couple of cheap Gundabads in front of him, or even Goblin mercenaries in front of him.
Yeah.
So that they can't charge him if they win priority, and then move them out and then he can just run through.
Good thing is the troops don't get knocked to the ground that you move through.
But again, and this one's slightly harder to do than with the Troll Brute, massively susceptible to command. Now the difference is, this is just like the Goblin King, it's only when he charges.
And especially with the move 8.
Yeah, so you've got 4 inches. So if there's a battle line and he's not in combat and you command him, you can move him 4 inches over any of his army he wants, and as long as he charges one of your models, you have to be. He again has to stay, because a model they end their move on is removed as a casualty. So you better be damn sure he stays more than 4 inches away from Azog.
Oh yeah.
Or a troll.
That's horrendous.
Each model they pass through suffers a strength 3 hit.
There's no
caveat about it.
No, it's removed as a casualty.
I don't know quite. It's obviously not intended like this, I would think, but it means if you charge a model next to the Iron Hills Chariot, I think the chariot goes. A model that ends its move on is automatically removed as a casualty.
No, but it can only pass through good models. No, your own.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, good point, yeah. But so if you're commanding them through Azog, through Bolg,
the problem is orcs, goblins, and warbats. Right, okay.
But that's you're quite right. It's only orcs, goblins, warbats, but Azog's an orc. But that's a brilliant
I wonder whether
counter to the cheap profile.
Warriors. I don't know.
But then you're getting a 60 point. You're getting a cheap monster, a very very cheap monster.
Yes.
And that's your.
I mean, you could very easily you could take 3 of these.
Yeah. And then that's the worry, that if I come up against a caster, you're going to be killing my own models. But you can protect, unlike the Troll Brute, you can protect against that because of your placement. Like if you're going to be in combat, you make sure he's 5 inches behind your army, so that he can't charge.
Yeah.
He can't charge when commanded. This only happens if the enemy can command him into combat.
Yeah,
that's all my positioning.
Once your enemy's will has gone down, you can start to move them closer together.
And I think, given the profile and the points, that kind of risk is necessary to balance the profile.
I think in a Gundabad army, one of these is a must.
Yeah, and they're cheap enough to drop them in. Yeah, I think they're lovely models. I'll definitely be getting a couple.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to get some nice 50mm bases from somewhere to pop them on. And I'm looking forward to getting those in the new year.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So we then start to get into the relative chaff.
Yep.
We start with a goblin mercenary, who is the same points as a goblin with stuff.
Yeah.
Because this is a goblin with some stuff. And the stuff is armour. So it's a Goblin Town Goblin, but
that's it.
Defense 4. Which I think is what people are predicting for these. They have
That's
either
nice.
a sword or a pick. They can't flail, they can't whirl, which is interesting.
No.
They have cave dwellers.
Did the Goblin Town have?
Some of them do.
Some of them did, but I didn't know what it said on the profile.
I don't think it specifies on them.
Okay.
I think. Can't remember. Cave dwellers is +1 in rocky terrain or a reroll in rocky terrain or something like that, isn't it? They have the same chittering hordes rules. They can support, just like Goblin Town Goblins can, they can support another model with this. And you do get the benefit of a two-handed weapon if you're supporting.
Yep.
And they have Mercenary Ambush.
Are these in the same list as
Yep.
Goblin Town?
No, not the same one as Goblin Town. These are just in Azog's Legion, so you
Right.
can't combine the two of them. You could do it and lose the army bonus.
Yeah.
And they also get Mercenary Ambush, which we talked about at some length
Yeah.
in the Evil Heroes. So basically, you pick a piece of terrain,
It's a nice
and
cool
deploy them
rule,
in there.
but apart from that, they're pretty much the same.
Yeah, I think they could be good though to get your points up. When you've got a huge your body count up. When you've got huge point sinks like Azog and these trolls in, a nice little warband of these. They also don't have to be led by a captain. If you want to use their special rule,
that's good.
if you want to use their
You have
deployment
to, yeah.
rule, they have to be led by a mercenary captain.
But they're not paying any points for that rule.
No. So you could just take, if you got Azog, you could go like Azog, Troll and Goblins, you don't have to take the Orcs. And just to get your points up, your model count up.
Yeah.
Which could be interesting. Like,
Plus, if you got a spare 60 points,
yeah.
and the thing is either take a few of those or a whole warband of goblins.
I definitely think as kind of going for, like, that last 100 points you've got in your army or something, taking 20 of them, like, and getting, just massively putting your points up.
Yeah.
I think they could be good, and they offer the Azog's Legion list a bit of flexibility.
With the price of the berserkers, like the more costly points value, and it's great sort of.
I think it's really hard. We've got the Gundabad Warriors left, but that's all the new stuff for Azog's Legion. I think it's now really hard to pick an army.
Yeah.
For Azog's
Which is
Legion,
a
in
good
a good way.
problem.
It's like, well, what do? Do I go Warriors, Goblins, and then how do I fit in the
They are so
Berserkers,
versatile now.
the Bats, the Trolls, the Ogres? It's a real kind of. I think that's going to actually take a long time for various tournaments to kind of settle down and figure out what is the
good
competitive
army,
build for Azog's Legion, which of course is great. That's kind of what you want.
It's just a combat army, Azog's Legion.
Yeah, they
Just
have
combat.
beyond the catapult. They've got
Yeah.
no shooting, which is their only sort of downside. But then I like that. I'm a big believer that all armies shouldn't be able to do everything.
Yeah, definitely.
So then we get to the grunts of the army, which are the Gundabad Orc Warriors.
Yep.
Have exactly the same profile, I believe, that they had before.
Yep, just down 1 point.
They're down a point,
Which is
lovely.
brilliant.
Yeah.
It's like the captain.
And that's because I think it's like you say, Ancient Enemies is now free. So compared to an Uruk-hai warrior, they lose a point of fight.
Yeah.
So they go down a point relative to an Uruk-hai warrior. And then they get Ancient Enemies free.
Yeah.
Which I agree with because it's situational. It is. I don't think you should. It's a nice rule, but you probably shouldn't be paying for it.
Did they have the ability to take a banner before?
I don't know if they did. Let's find out. Let's learn together. They did not.
There you go.
Good pickup. Yeah. So Gundabad's can now have banners because they've got loads of banners.
I look forward to seeing a model with that.
Yeah. Got a conversion in mind. It's right up your street, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
I'm sure they'll bring one
as
out.
a relatively new Gundabad player for me, I'm thrilled by this because your basic warriors get cheaper. It's going to be very hard to remember though. I've got so used to building armies with, as soon as you give them a spear and a shield, they're all 10 points.
Yeah.
It's easy to do the maths on. 20, it's 200. And like now they've dropped 10 so you're
just give him a spear and a shield.
Yeah. Over the course of a warband, you get an extra body in there.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And they still get Gundabad. They still get Ancient Enemies, so they're good. Gundabads are good. Getting the defense 6 is handy. The fight 3s are let down. It really does compared to an Uruk-hai warrior. It makes a huge difference, both against fight 3 armies and fight 4 armies. But they're lovely models.
I think there's enough stuff in the rest of the army to help with that now.
Yeah. And as I've said in very many hobby vlogs, I'm very excited to have kind of done them. I've got them done. I've got 24 of them done. So now I just get to add the cool stuff.
Yeah. Have you painted all of them now?
I painted all the ones I got. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in the back of my head. There's a temptation to get another warband, but I probably won't because I've got enough stuff to paint.
Well, quite a few of the scenarios are 24, so you've got that already.
Tom's got loads as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I'm going to get, as soon as you get 6 berserkers, 2 ogres, and a couple of warbats, there's your third warband.
Oh yeah, just cool stuff to paint.
Yeah.
That's good.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So that is Azog's Legion, which makes up the vast majority of the Good Warriors. They have the special rule we talked about before, which is if you just take models from Azog Legion army, the general gets essentially Gothmog's rule. So Master of Battle, any hero calls heroic action within 6 inches, they get to call one for free, which is amazing.
Yep.
I think you're going to see a lot of Azog's Legion.
Yep, definitely.
I don't necessarily like pure Azog's Legion. I don't necessarily think they'll win too many events because they haven't got a wizard, but I think you're going to get a lot of Azog with toys leading Gundabad, some of these berserkers, maybe one of the new trolls, and a couple of ogres.
Azog and Bolg are still relatively large points value, so you could do still quite a competitive army, especially with that rule.
That rule's amazing. The Azog's Legion rule is brilliant.
If that rule was on just a normal Gundabad or captain, that'd still be pretty good.
On Azog and Bolg.
I mean, obviously, yeah.
It's outstanding because it means they can keep their might for heroic combats because they'll never have to call a heroic strike. They'll never have to spend it on a heroic strike.
And when Bolg gets to his mighty hero.
But I think, to me, that's exactly what the Army Special Rule does.
Yep.
It's not going to necessarily win you games on its own, and you can't bring a wizard in to become uber competitive, but it does. It works as a very strong incentive to just use models from Azog's Legion, which is brilliant.
Definitely.
So there we go.
And then last of all,
there is one warrior left, which is one I think a lot of people are excited about.
the Mirkwood Spider.
Mirkwood Spider.
And just in case you don't know, it's a spider.
It is a spider, so still not a monster. But this is hands down one of the happiest. When I saw the new rules for this, it was one of the happiest things I watched because this has been utterly fixed in every possible sense. There was so much wrong with it. And
does this make up for the lack of Megaliths?
Sketches aside, I couldn't give a damn about Megalith. So let's just compare. First things first, he is cheaper. He's a cheaper spider. He's a goblin with stuff cheaper, which is great. First off, because people used to say, right, they need to be cheaper, the stats need to be better, and the paralysed thing needs to be better.
And you've got all three.
Yeah. So stats wise, they're now movement 10 instead of movement 8.
That's
brilliant.
big. That's very
So
big.
they're like normal spiders. All the other stats are the same. So fight 2, strength 5, attacks 2, wings 2. So they're still worse than a giant spider in terms of the fight, but
I think a nice mix would be fun.
They get terror now. They didn't have terror before. That's great. Fantastically, rather than woodland creature, they now get the movement rule. So they have the same movement rule that giant spiders have.
Oh, right, okay.
So they can now move over any obstacles and all that sort of difficult terrain, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you ever played with them, but the other thing I found was that because they were on 60 mil bases, you couldn't move them anywhere. They had to go around everything.
Did we play that rule when we did the Dol Guldur?
No, I think when we were doing the battle report in Dol Guldur, we just said let them move over everything. I think we were very kind of keen on that because it
just crawling up.
Yeah, you want them crawling up stuff. But exactly that now allows them to do what a spider wants. So immediately then, full stop there. They're probably now worth it.
Yeah. Being
cheaper, getting terror, and getting freedom of movement and 2 inches.
Do you think they'd still be worth the old points value for that?
Maybe not. But they're definitely more tempting. They definitely, purely based on that, they don't look rubbish.
Yeah.
But spider webs. A couple of things on this.
Oh, is it? Oh,
shoot its spider webs at its enemy. They are treated as a throwing weapon with a range of 8 inches. Two huge changes.
Oh yeah, I mean that extra 2 inches is brilliant.
It means you can stand out of range of being charged and shoot.
You've got 2 extra. That's the ability to shoot twice. Really.
Well, over different turns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. Because in the past, the whole thing was, if you were within, it used to have a 6 inch range. So if you were within, and it was just a shooting weapon. So if you were within 6 inches, you were going to get charged, if you lost priority and you were within 6, you get charged. If you wanted to shoot it and then you'd lost priority, you'd have to move within 6 inches to shoot. At which point it becomes a 6 to hit, which isn't worth it. There's still a 5+ to hit, but the other huge change is it's a throwing weapon, which is what everyone wanted. That's the big bit. So now the spiders can scuttle forward, charge into someone.
It makes sense for it not to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. In the past, you very much had to scuttle within 6 inches of something and then hope that you roll a 6. Whereas now they run into people and in the face, and then it has the same effect. Yeah. So if they're using the throwing weapon, it's a 6+.
Yep.
But then they paralyse, and paralyse is one of the best spells in the game. They are now brilliant. That is terrifying. It's like the catapult troll again. But far cheaper. You get a couple of them. You use them to attack your enemy, and you're just chucking a dice every time you go in. And on a 6, they're paralysed.
Yeah.
That is absolutely terrifying. But what makes them nice and balanced is their defense 3 and 2 wounds.
Yep.
So
shooting.
They should go down to shooting very, very easily. Yeah. They are now categorically fixed.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think they're broken.
No. Well,
but they're now very, very, very good, I think.
Very strong profile.
I think you drop a couple of them into an army, and your opponent is going to start sweating. There's a 10-inch move. I'd almost be tempted, it depends on what your shooting output's like, but you'd almost be tempted to just get a couple of them and just charge forward towards the heroes.
Yeah.
But just for that one turn, risk your 40 points investment.
The 10-inch movement.
Yeah. If there's no shooting to gun them down, stand out of charge range, next turn just go in and hope one of them rolls a 6. And if you paralyse the hero, that was worth it.
Yeah.
But they're great. I think they're really, really good. Which is really cool, because to me, Mirkwood spiders are ludicrously cool, the models are nice, and I want to see more of them on the table. So, really good to see.
Yeah.
Great change there. And they appear in the Dark Denizens of Mirkwood.
They sure do.
List, which is a very, very cool list, which has changed a bit.
Mirkwood spiders and fell wargs.
Yeah. So, and what they've done on this, clearly to deal with the individual drops of wargs, you now have kind of strange wording, but you can see what it's doing. If you have a warband, it's a kind of slightly separate thing, but if you have a warband, how does it say? Warbands composed entirely of fell wargs do not need a hero to lead them if they number 6 or more models. That basically means if you have under 6 wargs, you have to have the Spider Queen. Right. The Spider Queen's the only thing that can lead them.
So can you still take an individual warband of one warg?
No.
No.
That's exactly what they're saying. That if your warband contains only fell wargs, you don't need a hero if you've got 6. So you can have 6 wargs on their own, like a pack.
Or you can have
one with a Spider Queen, which is brilliant. Because the whole idea is 6 is quite thematic. You have 6 wargs.
It makes it a lot a lot better to play against. Yeah. Yeah, because
so many people just take one warg and drop it in. And bear in mind, in Azog's Hunters, you can still have fell wargs. You can still put them in there.
You can.
Yeah, you can just use them as warband. This is exclusively if you just want wargs. And then the same thing for the spiders. They don't need a hero to lead them if they number 2 or more models. So you can't drop one Mirkwood spider into an army, but you can have 2 of them. Which
that's
again,
really, really nice.
Yeah, and it's a big points investment again. It's 40 points, which is quite going to be relatively similar to what's a fell warg?
It's a bit interesting sometimes what to do if you've got 40 points left over. What do you do with that? Yeah. Now you have that ability to take just 2 of these.
Yeah, and I think that's good.
Yeah.
But you can also obviously take you can now have bat swarms, giant spiders, and the Spider Queen in this army, this kind of force. So you could have a Spider Queen leading a warband of Mirkwood spiders, giant spiders, and bat swarms, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Like if you want that kind of gribbly list, that's an allied warband now. You take a Spider Queen with a bat swarm with 2 Mirkwood spiders, 2 fell wargs, 2 giant spiders. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the special rule.
Yeah.
And if you combine the fell wargs and spiders, then you don't need a warband if you have you don't need a leader if you have 10.
So they're special
So
army
if you just want spiders, you can take 2. If you just want fell warg, you can take 6. If you want a combination, you need like whatever 7 and 3 or something like that. So I think that's great. They fixed the fell warg drop rule, which is lovely.
I think it's a shame that you can't have like warg chieftains. Like
yeah, warg chieftain would be a nice choice in there.
Yeah,
Actually.
I mean, and normal wargs, because obviously warg chieftains can't.
But yeah, so I think that's very cool. I definitely, because I've got my Gundabad army, it very much has a Dol Guldur theme. I definitely think, because I noticed the spiders are not in the Dol Guldur list.
That's the only list they are in.
Yeah, so they're an ally. So you could take, say, you got the Necromancer, the Nazgul, and Gundabad captains, and the Keeper of the Dungeons, with the Gundabads and Hunter Orcs, and then you could drop like 2 Mirkwood spiders into that. I think for a very cool, fluffy little list.
Yeah, it's a shame you'd lose the bonus of the army list, but it depends how you want to go with it, doesn't it?
That's only worth it if you take the Necromancer though. So if you're not taking the Necromancer, if you just want some Nazgul or Dol Guldur possibly lead in.
What was that rule again?
He gets an extra will point for if you cast a spell.
Okay.
Which is very nice. So yeah, there we go. Those are the evil warriors in there and back again.
Oh, which is very nice, because in the last book that we got, I mean the Desolation of Smaug, there was very little on evil side.
It's the Battle of 5 Armies, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Azog's Legion's army that's been fleshed out entirely,
yeah.
and then Mirkwood spiders which have been fixed. I do think you'll see a lot of these guys when the models come
lovely looking
online.
armies.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be using these. I think this will be what I'm using at most tournaments. Not to do particularly well, but I won't be getting to many tournaments next year.
It just looks like a fun army.
Yeah, it does.
With all the little special rules, it looks really fun.
And you've got those cool leaders in Azog and Bolg.
Yeah.
As someone who uses this army, I couldn't be happier with this.
Yeah.
I think they've done some really, really cool stuff. And I'm really... I won't... If I was using Azog's Legion army, I wouldn't drop Mirkwood spiders in, because it's to me it's not worth
just the theme.
Well, I mean competitively, it's not worth losing the army bonus. But I am now very, very keen to get a kind of Dol Guldur-y force on the board.
Well, you've got some ring race for that, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got some half decent proxies for that. So yeah,
so which profile is your favourite of the Warriors?
Of the Warriors, I'm going to go with the Mirkwood spiders.
Yeah.
Because I was so happy about... Because I wanted to use them so much in the previous rules and they were just Drek. And now I think they're great.
So how about the Gundabad list?
Gundabad list, probably the Gundabad troll, I reckon. Because
now reading that over
the
again,
model will be cool. And I could see myself buying one and using one. I can't really see myself using the Catapult troll. The Catapult troll, I think when it comes out, I don't think I'll get it.
No.
Because it's likely to be expensive and I won't... I might get it eventually. Whereas when the troll comes out, I know I'll buy one of them straight away. I think that'd be really cool, and I want the one that Weta made the model for with the giant scythes. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think that's just going to be an amazing model.
Yeah,
the troll. But
amazing models.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess so. The Gundabad berserkers. I still think Keith's done such an incredible job with the sculpts, and I can't wait to get a unit.
They're good.
Just running across the battlefield, crazed. But yeah, the troll with the scything gauntlets will look amazing. You can do some amazing paint effects on those shields.
I like the fact that it's an army with some great pluses but also big weaknesses.
Yeah.
The Gundabad berserkers only being defense 5, the trolls not being resistant to magic and those kind of things. It's a cool army to use, but it feels like there are some fair ways to take it down.
There are some really squishy parts and also very high defences in it.
Yeah. I think it's an army that feels like it will do a lot of output, but then is also quite squishy.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of it feels charge forward, smash up as much as you can, hope you don't get hit.
But it's a perfect army to fight against the dwarves.
Yeah, it is. That's a fair point.
Because there's no shooting, so the catapults aren't gonna, the blisters.
Yeah.
They're not gonna really do
Dominate.
much.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So you've got the high strengths of the of the trolls, and the ogres, and the warbats, and I think it's perfect.
So So there we go. People have been asking a lot of questions about how to deal with Iron Hills dwarfs. We think get Azog's Legion on them. The ancient enemies everywhere, high strength and ability to lower defence.
Get
pretty great.
one of those trolls on Dane.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit him with a club. Dies just as easy as everything else.
Yeah.
So there we go.
But that.
Those are our thoughts on Evil Warriors. We like them a lot. I can't wait to get those things, getting the berserkers assembled over Christmas and painted up, hopefully in January, and getting the ogres done, and then hopefully by then there might be a troll. There's an open day, isn't there? There's Forge World open day on New Year's Day, or the 2nd, I think. And I'm hoping... It's very early in January. It might be the 2nd.
Because they're usually on a Sunday, an open day.
Oh?
Yeah, in the past ones I've been.
Well, somewhere like that, there's one of them, and I heard one of them, I can't remember if it was Adam or Jay, say something like, we'll have cool stuff to show.
Oh.
So who knows? It's actually been quite a while since we saw...
the Ram Riders were coming.
Yeah, they said at...
yeah, they had pictures, but they weren't going to show them.
They weren't approved yet or something, but they were very happy, so maybe they'll be there. And bear in mind, the last new thing was the ogre, right?
Yep.
So we saw that quite a while ago.
Yeah.
So who knows what
it's
Gav
been a while,
and Keith and Robin were doing. You know,
Well,
I'm gonna take a punt.
Go for it.
Given that Rob did the chariot, Keith did the ogres last, and Gav did the dwarfs, I'm gonna take a punt and say that at that open day we'll have the Ram Riders done by Gav.
Yes.
We'll have a troll done by Keith, and we'll have the chariot done by Rob.
You think the chariot?
I'm gonna go big.
I don't think the chariot will be done.
Maybe not. And so, as you might have noticed, the video cut off at the end because the camera was full and we ran out of time just as we were making our predictions for the open day and wrapping up. So sorry about that, and that Matt didn't get to sign off this video, but hopefully you enjoyed it. I'll look at the Evil Warriors in the There and Backingham book. Until next time, don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe. Support your hobby host by clicking in the links below. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Support your hobby and happy strategy battle gaming.